What is up, YouTube? Big Papa Jake with a long-awaited episode of It Figures, where you guessed it, I talk figures. And today we are going to be talking about Jesse the Body Ventura. I'm going to be reviewing two figures that just got released to his, and I found them in the wild. But I just want to get some things out of the way first, some news and notes. I apologize, it's been a really long time since I've done a video. I have not been buying figures like I had been at one point because we are relocating It Figures headquarters. We are in the midst of building a new house. So I had packed up all my figures, which, as you can see, the home office is pretty barren and empty. We also had a lot of other things going on where I had to pack up a bunch of my stuff. And I just haven't been opening figures. So when I do these reviews, they're going to be just that. I'm not going to be opening figures until I relocate. I can figure out how I'm going to show and display some stuff. I am going to taper back my figure purchasing and just try to kind of keep it to those legends that are absolutely must-have for me that are not already in my collection. Found a few of those here that I'm going to review over the next few weeks. Going to start with Jesse the Body Ventura, but really going to concentrate on the Golden Era and then also on the Monday Night War era. More so on the WCW side. I was Team WCW all the way during the Monday Night Wars. And while I have an affinity now for the WWF side of that, when I was in college watching the Monday Night Wars, I was all Team WCW. So little changes here. I'm still going to talk about figures. I'm going to review them. I'm going to keep them in box for now. Hopefully do some openings when I get to the new residence, and maybe even open up some stuff that I thought I was going to keep in boxes and just kind of display them different. So we'll see what the future holds for Big Papa Jake. I call myself semi-retired, but there are some ones coming up that I'm going to have to purchase. Some that if I see them in the wild, I'll buy them, but I'm not going to go out and order them online. If I really find them in the wild, then I'll take a look at buying them. But let's get started. Today we're going to do Jesse the Body Ventura. I have gotten two Jesse the Body Ventura figures over the last few weeks that I've been dying to review. And we're going to let's start with the Legends. Jesse the Body Ventura figure. This is Legends Series 30. They have begun doing Build-A-Figure in the Legends for Target, which is a great idea. I know a lot of these were peg warmers for a while because, some of the Legends, let's face facts, only the older guys like me, kids aren't going to pick up a Jesse the Body figure for their collection to play with. This is more for the nostalgia folks like me. And granted, like they always say, 39 to 59, they have the money, but really this is kind of a niche line when you think about it. If it's not the Monday Night War era, then going back to these golden era figures, they're hit or miss, I gotta say. This one was definitely a hit for me. And let's just kind of look at the packaging. Let's look at the figure. Let's talk about Jesse the Body and what he means to wrestling. WWF, WWE Hall of Famer, still have a hard time getting the F out. But start with the packaging. As you can see, obviously the Legends packaging, which is, again, awesome. Love it. Always kind of reminds me of the Defining Moments shape of a box with the old school Legends colors. The old school WWF logo minus the F. And here you can see they show you the Build-A-Figure of Bob Backlund when he ran for president. Now, I will say, I wasn't really paying too close of attention. This was 93, 94, I want to say, when Backlund made his return to the WWF. I wasn't really paying much attention. I was paying attention to some WCW, but I was really kind of, I was, I believe, a sophomore in college, so I was kind of had other things on my mind, let's put it that way. So, but there you see Jesse the Body Ventura looking only like Jesse the Body can. It's got the beads under his do-rag, got the feather boa, got the mean mug, probably even has he doesn't have the little diamond stud in his chin there, but certainly looking awesome there. And let's take a look at the front. just like that. He's got his kind of silver do-rag. He's got his red feather boa, got the zebra stripe, kind of Zuba style pants and jacket there. Comes with the old school WWE, WWF microphone. And you can see Mr. Backlund's hand sticking through there. WWF Legends. So let's take a look at the back and see what it says. You see the cross all there. A couple hit or misses in this one. Mr. Fuji, which I bought and need to review. One of my favorite managers. Michelle McCool. Never seen her wrestle a lick, only know her as The Undertaker's wife. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think that guy was kind of good if I remember. Not 100% sure, but he might have been something special. And then, of course, Jesse the Body Ventura. So that's the one we're going to take a look at. Let me read what it says on the back about Jesse the Body Ventura. It says titles, AWA World Tag Team Champion. And I will say, AWA is where I first saw Jesse the Body Ventura, and I'll get into that. As controversial as he was colorful, Jesse the Body Ventura never held back on telling the television audience what was on his mind, especially when it came to Hulk Hogan. Whether he commentated alongside his broadcast partners like Gorilla Monsoon or cultural icons like Elvira at WrestleMania 2, nobody did it better than the Body. And this is, to me, this is the quintessential Jesse the Body announcer figure. He showed up on Saturday night's main event, as you can see. He showed up on Saturday night's main event, and this is what he looked like. He was great. The perfect heel color commentator. He always had that argument about whether it was Andre and Hogan, whoever it was fighting Hogan, whether it was being on Piper's side before Piper turned face. Jesse the Body was always the one who interviewed the heels, who talked up the heels, made excuses for the heels. He really, really, really made it so wins and losses didn't matter. He could cover up a heel's loss like no one's business. So that's what made him genius. And Saturday night's main event for me was my first real introduction to WWF. As I said before, I first saw Jesse the Body Ventura, and I saw him in person wrestle for the AWA in Janesville Craig High School. My high school, I was probably 8 years old at the time. My older brother and his friends took me to Craig High School gym to see AWA, and we saw the Road Warriors, we saw Jesse the Body Ventura, a bunch of the legends, Kurt Hennig, Greg Gagne, you name it, we saw it back in those early 80s times. So Jesse the Body, first and foremost, I knew him in AWA. When he finally jumped to the WWF and Vince Jr. took over, kind of went national, Saturday night's main event, that was Jesse the Body Ventura to me. Saturday night's main event was the equivalent to pay-per-view for me. Before pay-per-views were there, I had to get my VCR set Saturday once a month or so when it was on, once every 2 months, and I had to record Saturday night's main event. Tried to stay up and watch it if my parents let me, but I would watch and rewatch Saturday night's main event over and over, and Jesse was one of the big reasons why. He was the quintessential heel color commentator. Loved him. And Saturday night's main event, again, my favorite wrestling show. Over Nitro, over any of it. Saturday night's main event was the show. When they brought it back out last year, I was just so geeked up in the nostalgia. I could play My Obsession on my phone over and over again. A lot of people don't even realize My Obsession by Animotion was the original theme song to Saturday night's main event. Of course, they whitewashed that out of the WWE network when they re-released everything, but I digress. Anyway, Jesse the Body, as you can see here, the only thing I'll say is this is not one of his more colorful outfits. He was really into all the different colors, leopard prints, pink, purples, everything. Just a fashion icon, if you ask me. He didn't care whether it matched or not. He was going to dress the way he wanted to dress. The other thing about Jesse that I loved is when Jesse was standing in front of a camera and the guy next to him, whether it was Vince, Gorilla, whoever, was talking, and Jesse was not talking. There was a lot of times, if you watch carefully, you'd see Jesse holding the microphone up to his mouth waiting to talk, but he would be lip syncing the words off of the cue cards. You could see him reading the cue cards along with the guy next to him who was actually saying the words. It always made me laugh. Even as a kid, I knew, I'm like, oh, they're reading cue cards, and Jesse can't help but mouth the words along with, McMahon or whoever was talking. So for my money, Jesse the Body and Vince McMahon, Saturday Night's Main Event, one of the greatest commentating duos ever. So that is Legends 30, Jesse the Body Ventura. Amazing figure. Not going to crack this open just yet. May put him, I am debating whether to get a little corner curio cabinet and put my Golden Era figures in there, and if so, I might crack him open because I don't have an open Jesse the Body. I did get the Coliseum Collection Ultimate Jesse the Body with King Kong Bundy, but did not open that either. And as I recall, that was kind of more of a dual wrestler and announcer figure. So this is the announcer figure I was looking for. Now, to take another trip down memory lane, we're going to review, and this is only the second LJN WWE Superstars new release that I bought since they've released. And it's not because I don't like them, it's because I haven't been able to find them. The only one I really passed up that I wanted was Bundy, because I have an original Bundy. I bought Hogan when I was able to get a hold of Hogan. I thought, God, I'd love to have a Hogan mint on card, so I bought one. Jesse is in that wave. I'll go over the back of it too. The Ultimate Warrior is one that I'm really looking for now. I'd love to have a Warrior mint on card. Mainly because I never had a Warrior when I was a kid. Now I've rebought a lot of the original LJNs, not a lot, several. Jesse was one of my favorites, but I'll go over that when I start talking about this. So this isn't necessarily a replica of the Jesse the Body original LJN, which is why I love it. It is not a carbon copy like the Hogan is. And I say carbon copy, look, you can tell the difference, and I think they did that on purpose. But Hogan, Bundy, Warrior, those are the ones that really, at first glance, an amateur's not going to be able to tell the difference. Jesse, obviously, he was, I'll say, patterned after, but not replicated the original figure, and I'll go over that. I wish I had one to hold up next to it. I did not keep my original Jesse, and unfortunately, I have not found an original Jesse yet. Maybe that'll make some of these prices come down a little bit. The re-releases, wishful thinking maybe, but let's just kind of look at it. Obviously, the WWE Superstars packaging, beautiful bubble pack. It's got Jesse the Body Ventura, got the cartoon on the back. I always thought that was Hogan and Big John Studd there in the corner. Mattel, Jesse the Body Ventura poster included, so it's very similar to the original LJN packaging. Now, it has been way too long since I've held an original LJN in package in my hand. I get the feeling this card is a little bigger. I know it's definitely stouter, but kind of larger sized. So on the back, you have the cards, which, like every kid, I cut those out and had them saved when I was a kid. But here you go, WWE Superstars, LJN. Let's see what it says about Jesse the Body Ventura here. It says, not only has this 268-pound bruiser established himself as one of the top contenders for the WWE title. I don't know about that. I don't recall him ever contending for the WWE title. I don't even remember him wrestling, save a few special tag team matches in the WWE. But anyway, contender for the WWE title, but he has also become a highly respected ringside color commentator for television broadcasts. Fans may not like his wild and wacky outfits, his pleasure was all yours attitude, or his choice of companions, but the Body is a real pro. And he would always say, he is a journalist. Whereas Vince McMahon, he always said that McMahon was just a shill and Jesse was a journalist. But let's take a look here at the cross cell. You can see the two waves here. You got Jesse, King Kong Bundy, Stone Cold. You got the Warrior, John Cena, Logan Paul, and Hogan and Dusty Rhodes. Excuse me. All of these are very solid figures. As I said, I'm collecting these for nostalgia, so I love Dusty Rhodes, but was not a fan of Polka Dot Dusty, so I'd never get that figure. Cena, and definitely not Logan Paul. Stone Cold, I will tell you, I hate to use the word peg warmer, but he is the only LJN for the longest time I ever found on the pegs. I could not find any. I found them online sometimes, watching out, but could not find them until I came across Jesse in the store. For some reason, I don't know what it is. If I was a collector and a Stone Cold guy, I love Stone Cold, but not one of my top 5 favorites or whatever. But I don't know why Stone Cold fans would not be buying these LJNs up. It's a pretty cool figure. Anyhow, let's take a look at the outfit. As I said, the original Jesse the Body LJN was in tights, similar color. Had this design that's on his coat on the side of the tights, as I recall. No shirt. He was flexing like that. Had a do-rag on, a light blue do-rag, sunglasses, but in wrestling attire. And so he was marketed as a wrestler. Now, they have chosen to market him as what most people, even in that era, knew him as a commentator. Now, I will say, when I was a kid and I had my LJN ring and all my LJN figures, probably the most wrestled match I had was Hogan versus Jesse the Body. Not because I didn't have any other figures. I had Macho Man, I had Bundy, I had Piper, I had heel after heel to take on Hogan. But the reason I always chose Hogan versus Jesse as the main event was because Jesse was always the most vocal on TV about what a bad guy Hogan was. And I make no bones about it. I watched WWE or WWF. I watched that night's main event to watch Hogan lose. I wasn't necessarily rooting for him to lose. I sure wasn't rooting for him to win, but I was waiting for someone to beat him. I was wanting that to happen. And, in my figure playing, Jesse the Body was the guy who was going to do it. He held the strap often, let's put it that way. Even more, Macho Man, all the heels, as I said. It was Jesse the Body Ventura. But yeah, he's got his microphone, got his sunglasses. I know I've watched a few figure openings on this, and I think those sunglasses are removable, but not 100% sure. But look at that likeness. That is Jesse the Body Ventura. That is a great figure. And I'm going to tell you what, and today, again, I came across another one in the wild. Tempted to pick it up and open, but I just can't do it again. Like I said, I'm getting overwhelmed with the whole move and everything, and I can't have all these figures laying around. So, again, semi-retirement. I'm going to get some upcoming figures, and I'll talk about that very soon. But yeah, very solid. Again, can't say enough about them re-releasing this line. I think it's a great idea. I hope they move. I hope people buy them. I hope we don't see, like I said, all those Stone Colds or Logan Pauls sitting on the shelf and collecting dust, because that might prevent them from releasing these. And I'll be honest, I don't know what the next wave is. I've seen a lot of AI or fake ones on Facebook talking about who the next one might be. I'm not even sure, but yeah. So Jesse the Body is definitely a great figure and well worth the review. So real quick, I'm just going to talk. As I see, I'm going pretty long here. I'm going to talk quickly about what is coming up and what I'm going to review and what I'm going to try to get my hands on. So first of all, review. I've got a couple. Let's see. Excuse me. Mr. Fuji Legends. I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about Mr. Fuji. I'm gonna talk about the tag team division as it pertains to Mr. Fuji and mainly demolition. So I'll review that figure. That was one long time coming that I just couldn't pass up. And then in the wild, I found Coco Beware. Again, another golden era figure that I had to have in my collection that is just so emblematic of my fandom and when I really first started watching. So I hope I'm not boring you guys. It's late here. I haven't had my first drink yet, so need to stay awake. Anyhow, so finally, coming up lines, and there's been a lot announced, but one line I'm very excited for, and one figure in particular, I'll probably get a couple out of this line, but I don't know if you guys have saw this. Drop a comment below and tell me if you've seen that these figures are coming out. And I want to say they're a Walmart exclusive, a Saturday night's main event wave. This wave looks awesome. And in that wave are two particular figures I know I'm going to buy, but one is a figure I need in my collection. A guy who was the quintessential face that ran the place, in my opinion, right after Hulk Hogan for me. Even in Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, the cartoons, it wasn't, I love Junkyard Dog, but it wasn't him. He wasn't number 2 face. It was Hillbilly Jim. And Hillbilly Jim has a Saturday Night's Main Event figure coming out. I am getting that bad boy. If I have to pay through the nose to get it, I will get it. And then Hulk Hogan has a Saturday Night's Main Event figure. And I think it's just a Hulkster figure with a Saturday Night's Main Event shirt, which I want to say the first time I've seen that Saturday Night's Main Event t-shirt was in the 3-pack with Piper, Orton, and Orndorff that just got released. So anyhow, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. These are ones people are asking me. They're like, hey, Big Papa, you going to stop collecting all told? What's going on? And I'm like, no, they come into my basement and they see all my figures are gone in storage, and they're like, did you finally give it up? Did you finally grow up? I'm like, hell no. Not ever going to grow up. I just had to kind of condense, prioritize my collection. I'm still going to do videos, still going to talk about wrestling. It is the first thing I've ever was interested in as a kid, my first love before sports, before any of that. But wrestling has always been my first love. So I will definitely keep talking about it, definitely keep collecting it. If for some reason the figure hunts go fewer and far in between, maybe I'll come in with a video or two talking about either current or past wrestling. And there's quite a bit to talk about lately. I know as we're talking now, Clash in Italy happens tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, I should say. Got some big matches there. Maybe I'll get on with a review of that. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to watch it in real time, but I'll watch it sometime tomorrow. Maybe I'll get on with a little snippet of what I think of Clash in Italy. There's a lot of great matches going on. In fact, I dare say I'm almost more excited for this card than I am for WrestleMania when it came about. I will say I'm a little curious. I heard Jacob Fatu might be hurt. Hopefully that doesn't affect the Tribal Combat match. Or if it does, hopefully they do it in the right way. I know you can't avoid injuries, but nonetheless, yeah, let me know what you think of Jesse the Body. We certainly have a lot of his figures coming out. This is the third one that I've gotten, and there's more coming. I think I did not pick up the Ultimate, I think it was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Ultimate Jesse. I almost did, but I thought, well, I'll wait for the Coliseum collection because I knew I wanted that Bundy as well. And yeah, more meat on the bone for Jesse. There's more to come out. All kinds of outfits. Give me a wrestling Jesse from some of his. Like I said, I think he had a tag team match against the Hillbillies with, I don't even remember who his tag team opponent. Maybe it was Roddy Piper and Jesse Ventura when he interrupted Uncle Elmer's wedding. And but yeah, there's all kinds of meat on the bone. There's a lot of figures. And again, I'm not saying I'd pick them up, but I'm all for seeing them, and love Jesse the Body Ventura. So anyway, that is what I got going on. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you throw me a like and subscribe. Hopefully you guys keep waiting for new content. I apologize again. Life has been hectic, crazy, fun. But hopefully I get more on a roll and do some more of these. And, we're at 25 minutes now, so I went a little long, but next time maybe I'll keep it shorter and sweeter and not so long in between. So thanks for watching. Good hunting out there, and deuces, ooses.